Howdy, meat lovers. I have some beefy information for y'all for grass-fed and grass-finished beef.
You deserve to be happy and healthy.
Happy Earth Month, y'all. Joyce here, certified health and nutrition coach. This channel is for people who want to start or refresh their healthy habits. So if you're interested in doing just that, make sure to hit the subscribe button and watch all the way to the end for bonus tips. Before we get into this grass biz, and by that I mean blades of grass, not the 5-leaf plant, let's talk about cow burps. Aren't these cows so cute and adorable? Don't worry, it's not a loaded question on my channel. I am very inclusive of everyone's diets, so I don't have any judgment either way around. Cows have 4 parts to their stomachs. When they're digesting food that is very fibrous, it needs to go through all these compartments to be broken down for actual energy. While this digestion is taking place, cows are burping, and it actually is cow burps versus cow farts that is affecting the environment, because the cow burps actually contain methane. With all these cows that are being raised for consumption, we are definitely increasing a lot of the methane in the atmosphere. Well, you might be asking, what about the oil and gas industry? Aren't they ones to blame as well for this whole climate change? Well, in terms of methane production, cows burping actually contributes more than the oil and gas industry. So I'm definitely not saying that oil and gas industry has, nothing to be blamed for, but I just wanted y'all to be aware of this fact. How do these burps really affect the environment? Well, the burps increase the amount of methane in the air, increasing global temperatures, melting ice caps, increasing the sea level. Cities like Venice or countries like the Philippines lose a few islands in about 100 years or so. And then we have extreme weather patterns that take place. Basically, that's how cow burps affect climate change. So what can we do about it? Well, we can give each cow more room to roam, grass instead of grains to feed on. And I'm not talking about tearing down more trees to feed the cattle. I'm talking about using the existing land, making it more fertile for the grasses that they normally eat, and maybe dividing that land up into quadrants, making some crop rotation so you can move each herd one quadrant to another, so that you are allowing those plants to regrow. So in terms of space, grass-fed cows are given about an acre for a 1,000-pound cow, and if they have a calf with them, it'll be about an acre and a half. Now, this could be more depending on the ethos of the ranch, and in comparison for feedlot cows, you can have 100 cows per acre. Let's get our hands a little dirty with the USDA's definition of grass-fed. Grass-fed means that grass and forage shall be the feed source consumed for the lifetime of the cow, with the exception of milk before it's being weaned from its mom. So the diet shall be derived solely from forage consisting of grass, browse, cereal grain crops that haven't grown any grains on it yet. So it's in the grass stage, okay? And then the animals cannot be fed any grains or grain byproducts and must have continuous access to pasture during the growing season. This is the most recent definition from the USDA, March 2023 to be exact. And although they're giving us this definition, this does not equal certification. Okay, so the USDA does not certify grass-fed beef. Okay, it did prior to 2016. So at that time, the USDA allowed ranches to use the label grass-fed for cows that were fed at least 50% grasses. So it was also found that cows were given grains right before they were slaughtered. So that's kind of like in the finishing stage, so that they can increase maybe their fat content, so it has more marbling, it has better flavor, because inherently grass-fed beef is more lean than the conventional kinds that are fed with grains. Because of this process, grass-finished label came about to let consumers know that the cow has been fed grass since they were weaned all the way up to when they're slaughtered. I also want to make y'all aware that grass-fed cattle ranches aren't perfect. They may rank lower in their processes than feedlot cattle ranches. So if you're really curious or really concerned about this, please do your research. I put a link to an NPR article about this for your reference. You may be thinking that this grass-fed business is going to lower the amount of cows in the food supply, therefore it's going to increase the price of steak on my plate. And I totally get it, and that is a valid concern, but I want y'all to consider the health benefits of eating grass-fed beef for your body and also the planet. In terms of health benefits, there's a very well-documented study by Dr. Van Vliet at Utah State University where he found that grass-fed beef versus grain-fed beef had more omega-3s and more antioxidants and less total fat and less saturated fat than grain-fed. It also went into further detail comparing grass-fed versus grass-finished, and it found that grass-finished is far more superior in terms of phytochemicals and more antioxidant quantities than grass-fed beef. You could still get lean cuts of beef from grain-fed cows. It just depends on where the meat is on the body, because certain parts of the body have more fat than others, all right? To close out our conversation on grass-fed and grass-finished beef, it's really important to know where these cows are actually living, because most of the grass-fed beef is coming from Australia and New Zealand. So if you're concerned about the carbon footprint, you may want to reconsider and maybe reach out to the actual ranch and ask about the cows and where they are living. Okay, so that is my final piece of information for y'all to consider grass-fed / grass-finished beef. That wraps it up, folks. I hope you all got a better understanding of what grass-fed and grass-finished beef means for your body and the planet. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, share, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you have, thank y'all so much. See y'all next week. And remember, you deserve to be happy and healthy.